Well, good evening and welcome to this Sunday, November 22nd edition of the Island Stats Football Show. Joining me is Maceo Dill, Danica Gibbons, and Garrett Punchy Dill. We await Nikita Robinson, who will be joining us shortly. But very wet and interesting weekend for results. Let's take a look at the first division results from over the weekend. We had Crossroads defeating the Devonshire Colts 2-0 yesterday at Garrison Field. Somerset Trojans and PHC Zebras drew 0-0. Devonshire Cougars went down at home to Robin Hood 1-0. The match between St. George's Colts and the Dandytown Hornets over at BAA was abandoned after 83 minutes. And the match between North Village Rams and Somerset Eagles was abandoned after 73 minutes. First division scores saw St. David's fall to Flanagan's Onions 2-0. Vasco defeated Ireland Rangers 2-0, and Hamilton Parish defeated Wolves 4-2. I want to start, guys, this evening with that result yesterday because it was vital that finally Crossroads picked up 3 points. We've been talking about it for some time. We've been talking about the fact that Donovan hasn't been on fire how he was over seasons before and even last season. But he scored 2 goals yesterday, and they were able to defeat the Devonshire Colts. I'm sorry, that score was 2-1, not 2-0. So Punchy, when you heard that score, what were your thoughts on the performance of Crossroads?
Yeah, I had also picked Devonshire Colts to win.
Yes.
But it probably goes back to when I saw Crossroads out at BA, one of the first games of the season. It was a night game. I think it was against Dandytown. And they weren't bad at all. So it looked like there was still something missing, especially with Donovan, where you mentioned Donovan not scoring goals. Mm-hmm. I just figured maybe the new coach that was there at Crossroads wasn't really, there was something missing there. But I always figured that the way I've seen them play, they're capable. So this must have been like a hard fought one, because I definitely thought Devonshire Colts would win this. But kudos to them. Mm-hmm. I thought that maybe this would be the jump start for Crossroads.
Yeah. I think there were several factors in the match. I know Shamal Henry, who's been leading the front line for Devonshire Colts, he didn't start. I'm not even sure if he was in the team. But when you saw that result or heard that result, Maceo, what were your thoughts?
It's actually not surprising. A couple of things. Crossroads are capable of beating anyone in this league if they get it right, as far as the quality of players that they have. So if they put together the team and the tactic correctly, they're actually capable of beating anyone. And then when you look at Devonshire Colts and their youthfulness, they would be probably on a high after 2 wins in a row and thinking that momentum is just going to continue. Now, we had Ray on the show a few weeks back, and he talked about different ways of playing. And if he approached the game as to try to outplay Crossroads, who have physical bodies in their team, they could have got open up. So they was down 2-0, and I've got some feedback from the Crossroads goalkeeper as well as to how the game actually went, and that's what happened. Ray approached the game in a manner of outplaying Crossroads, and then because of the physical element that Crossroads possessed, they was able to that actually played into their hand with a youthfulness of Devonshire Colts. So, it doesn't surprise me that that's the result. But what it does is put Colts back in that relegation battle. It draws them back into that relegation battle.
Yeah. Danica, I'm not sure if you were at the game. Colts actually had the advantage of the win at their back in the first half, didn't take much advantage of that. And of course, the second half, you saw Crossroads take advantage of just those conditions, a few squalls coming through here and there. But again, Maceo, you were correct that the physical aspect of what Crossroads was able to do in that first half to stay in the match, because really there were opportunities for Colts to actually take the lead on several occasions in that first half, and they just failed to do it. Danica, did you see that particular game?
I only saw the second half.
Okay. What did you think of the performance of Crossroads to come away with a 2-1 win?
Well, I actually saw both of Donovan's goals. They were about taking goals. It's about time he gets on the score sheet. But I found that they were, like I said, they did take advantage of having to be on, going with them, So I thought they played well, and Coach, like Macy said, being the youthfulness that they are, I mean, they were keeping up. That's how it goes.
Yeah. Evening, Coach Keita. How are you?
How are you?
Good evening. How you doing?
Good. As you can see, some of the score lines on the Premier Division. We were in the midst of discussing that Crossroads Devonshire Colts match yesterday, where Crossroads picked up their first win of the season. But let's get into today's matches. And of course, the first things first, this was Bernard Park.
Wow.
After 75 minutes.
You sure that's not the desert?
After 73 minutes.
That looks like the desert.
What's that?
That looks like the desert.
Well,
Yes, it does.
memories, isn't it?
But-
Memories for some of you.
But they played enough minutes to constitute a match, correct?
No, their match ended after 73 minutes. The match out at BAA lasted 84 minutes. That was
So what is the time? I thought it was 70. Is it 75?
75.
So they honestly couldn't play 2 more minutes, really? Like no one did their homework? So that game has to be replayed, huh?
It would have to be, but that if you're looking at that is almost unplayable. The ball's not going to roll. It becomes too dangerous for the players. And of course, you can't see the lines either. So I'm pretty sure St. George's will take that point. They'll be happy with that point. And Eagles would obviously want that extra match to see if they can get something out of it, because you're down. If you don't play it 2 more minutes, that means another loss for them. So it kind of puts them in a position that they want to try to save as much time and get an opportunity to play Village again, because I think that we have to get into, and we will get into this show about we're in the winter months, and what I saw in players wearing soft studs on conditions like this, it was appalling at times.
Yeah,
because you have people that couldn't even end up.
Most definitely.
Yeah,
The funny thing is they probably don't even have hard studs. Like the modern player doesn't have 2 pairs of boots. That's the scariest thing.
The modern Bermudian player.
Correct. Correct.
And I mean, when you were growing up, even if you knew it was going to be a sunny day, you took your hard studs with you because you never knew what was going to happen. True?
That's for sure.
I still have hard studs.
Let me give you a story about that, baby, because we're talking about what the attire, your boots, what you should be doing. Being knowing it's going to rain today.
Mm-hmm.
So even when I was training with North Village under Joe Trott and Sam Newsom, you had to go. If you didn't come with your stud boots to training, you were in trouble. So it was no excuse for you not to show up to a game knowing that it's going to be rain or the field's going to be damp. So you had to have those stud boots. Otherwise, you would be in a lot of trouble. So the modern new players, like, don't you know it's going to rain? So you have 3 pairs of boots? 3 pairs.
Mm-hmm.
It would be like the coaches would be like, no, you just this is unbelievable. So that discussion is why players are not even conscious of that.
And it's not their first time playing. But
yeah.
I watched the North Village and Somerset Eagles match up until just about halftime. Then that rain came through, and I'm saying you have the strikers or the front runners for Somerset Eagles had house standing because they didn't have the proper footwear. And of course, they were playing on the end, which was a lot more muddier, which was the closer to the roadside, the Dotton Avenue side. And I mean, balls to their feet, they couldn't even stand up to get them. And I'm saying, this is appalling, man. Come on.
Is it a discussion we should be having about that? About proper attire for certain, like if you're going out to the rain and you got an umbrella, and you're walking, you can get soaked. So that's not. I don't even know why we're having this comment. Like,
but the reality is this, and I'm pretty sure as a national coach, Keita would have to, if you get to that level, you better come with 2 pairs, let alone hard starts, because you're gonna need them. You never know what you're gonna be up against, where you're gonna play, how you're gonna play, and all that. But so many guys are putting emphasis on buying $200 boots that want to look fancy, but looking pretty and can't play are 2 different things. Am I right, Keita?
Yeah, I mean, it's a discussion that's not even had, you know. Myself, I have turfs, I have Mildreds, and I have hard starts, all Adidas Coopers, right? And I've had them. I mean, I've had them. I don't even play anymore, but I've had them for years. But it's not a conversation that we have. You're correct. A player's buying $200 boots. Mama and daddy buying $200 boots. They're not buying 2 pairs. No. You know, you're lucky to get that $200 per boot. But that's the difference, right? It's not something that's discussed, and we have forgotten about it. And I think that it needs to be revisited from youth level. Like my son, who plays on a grass field, he should have 2 pairs of boots, but he has only 1. Yeah, and it's from that level we have to instill it in those players. Even for the girls that are playing, they only have boots. You know, they're playing most of the time. They play up at BFA on the turf, but they should have turf, especially with the condition of the BFA. You know, they really shouldn't even play in boots on that. But that's just not a conversation that we have. When we travel, we make them travel with 2 pairs of boots. So like, you have to have 2 pairs of boots. For many reasons, the boots could split. You know, we force them to take a pair in their carry-on as well as in their packed luggage. But I think it's something that at senior level it shouldn't even be a conversation. Like today, with the way the day started, everybody should have shown up at hard starts today.
Yeah.
You know, it's how it was. You know, when I was training, I had to take both pairs of boots to train. I had a boot bag with just my boots, and both were in there in the event I needed the other pair. So I don't know.
Yeah. Monsieur, you said you spent the second half out at Devonshire Rec, a top of the table clash. One I know Devonshire Cougars might have wanted to get a better result out of, but give us a sense of what that final 45 minutes was like.
Yeah, they actually, in the final 45 minutes, Devonshire Cougars had the better of the chances with Lejean Simmons. He was definitely a handful for Casey Castle out on the right wing, and you know, they had 2 or 3 chances to put to go in front of it, but they wasn't there mentally. They didn't think mentally they could win the game. So that was the difference. And you know, the tactical plan was correct, but you can see mentally Devonshire Cougars didn't feel that they were capable of winning that game, whereas Robin Wood did. And Shea Raymond popped up with a actually classic finish. You know, it was a through ball, and the goalkeepers came off the line and he's chipped in. So, you know, he's in a rich vein of form, and you can see the difference. Whereas Robin Wood felt, even though in the second half they wasn't forcing the game, they felt they could always win. Mentally, they felt that they could win it. And Cougars just mentally didn't feel that they you know, for me, it was a mental thing. For the, and then the other thing that was Cougars, we're talking about boots, and that became a problem with the surface out there, and Cougars did not switch their style of approaching the game, so they were still looking to play short passes, 1-2s, you know, and that just wasn't going to happen out there on that surface. Whereas Robin Wood were, you know, with Antoine Russell playing at a holding midfield position, he was, you know, hitting long balls over the top and you know, putting Cougars on a lot of pressure from that perspective. So it goes back to doing what it takes at that time based on the circumstances to get the result. And Robin Hood did that. I think they're starting to pull away, and they're going to be heavy for anybody to catch.
Yeah. Well, we're gonna take a quick commercial break, but when we come back, we're gonna talk about the Dandytown Hornets and Georges game, and that Somerset Trojans playing the last 47 minutes with 10 men. We'll be right back.
We've already sung the praises of Welch's famous grape juice, so healthful and refreshing, a truly great family favorite. So with the festive season fast approaching, remember to stock up on Welch's sparkling juice cocktails, flavorful and thirst-quenching, another celebration of the greatness of the grape. The Welch's White, Red, and Rosé are all wonderful on their own, but for a special seasonal treat, try Welch's sparkling juice cocktail in festive punch recipes, garnished with cinnamon sticks or fresh cranberries. All non-alcoholic and also festive. Lindo's, why go anyplace else?
So
Well, let's actually discuss a bit of that Somerset Trojans, PHC Zebras. It ended 0-0. We talked about Somerset coming in on a high from last week's win over North Village Rams. Obviously, PHC's coming in a high, beating St. George's last week. But Somerset had a man sent off in the 43rd minute. And as coaches, we know if we're that close to halftime, we can readjust things in the changing room so it's not messages getting all mixed up out on the field. And I think Somerset were able to, in the changing room, solidify how they were going to approach that second half. And of course, with conditions the way they were able to get a draw. Hearing that, Coach Keita, or being in that position, you go down a man, you got 2 minutes to go in that first half, you get through that. What tactics do you try to use on a young team? Well, you have a young team as well. Somerset's a young team as well. But a young team feeling them way in PHC, how would you kind of work out to map to stop them?
Well, PHC are very strong down the spine, so obviously we'll have to solidify and maybe stack the middle. So I'm not sure if that's what Somerset done, but I think that they got the result, probably a result out of that, based off of that early sending off. You definitely have to try to contain a PHC side, and if you can send them wide, you'll send them wide, and then hope once that ball comes back in the center that you have enough in there to plug up that middle. But that's the main tactic, try to stop them from playing on the middle. Obviously, that's where the goal is. So try to stop them from playing on the middle, and it will definitely have to be a formation and a tactic change in that sense. And just, having these sixes understand that, maybe they had one going forward earlier. Maybe they both have to sit now. Maybe now you go from a medium to a low block, especially on PAC's counters or PAC's attacks, and then try to get them on the counter if you can. But definitely you have to regroup. I don't know what player was sent off. So if they had to remove someone to bring someone on to hope to play in that position, that would be the things that I would look at halftime. Like, do we have the personnel on the field to be able to sustain the pressure that PHC is going to bring at us for an entire second half? So that would be how I would look at it.
Right. Danica, did you venture to BA Field?
No, I didn't.
Okay. What game did you see?
I got out to BA.
Yeah.
I saw the Summer Cougars and Robin Hood's game.
Oh, okay. What did you think? You heard Maceo talk about the match there. What did you think about it?
I agree with everything what he said. That guys coming out there type of rally wars. Guys falling down there, and they had second half. They had much to play. Lejon, he had chances, opportunities, but you got to put them away, and that's what he didn't do.
I'm going to come back to you, Maceo. You said you saw a bit of the Dandytown St. George's match. Obviously, Dandytown still coming back from these injuries and playing a lot of football in a short space of time. But what did you think of their performance against St. George?
Well, it's two things. I mean, they totally dominated. They missed a penalty early. They had 3 chances to go up in the match, Dandytown. So they was very comfortable in bossing that game in the first half that I saw. The usually reliable Angelo Simmons missed the penalty. St. George's, again, how they set up. St. George's is suggesting that they're going to high press Dandytown. But the three people that they have up front to high press are not physical enough, and they're not working together to high press. And then St. George's is pushing their line high, and they have Bascom and another center half down there that are not fast. So any ball at the top, they're not fast enough to get it. So they're not set up. You know, if you're high pressing and you're pushing your line, your back line up high, that suggests that you've got fast enough people that can cover anything. I mean, go back in the day, Mike Deal, right? Mike Deal, PHC can press you. They have athletic people that can press you high in your half. Any ball at the top, Mike Deal will get it no matter which side it was on. So PHC in that time, that worked efficiently because they had athletes. So high pressure actually suggests you got athletes. And St. George's approached the game to press Dandytown. Dandytown was good enough to outplay and get behind. But again, I coined a term with Dandytown that they're saying now that I'm jinxing, that no Tino, no Bob, no girls. So, and both of those, I mean, girls were coming in the plentiful for Dandytown with Jutino Richardson and Nico Lowe. Yeah. So no Tino, no Bob, no girls.
Okay. Punchy, did you get a chance to see a bit of North Village?
I saw I saw most of North Village, yeah. Again, I was surprised at the quality of I saw with Storms and Eagles. And I was surprised about another young coach, of course, with Gary Darrell helping out. But again, my problem again with North Village is still why they allow teams to play so much in front of them. They don't high press. It's like in Somerset. And so I got the message, talked to some of the people that say that's what Kenny wants, to drop off. I always said that if you allow people to play into a 10-year-old can put a good pass on if you don't put no pressure on it. So that's two things that I've noticed about North Village. I thought they were, again, my surprise to Somerset Eagles, a young coach. Well, we've got a lot of young coaches in Bermuda now. But my most important thing, when I go to a game, I'm very objective. I'm looking for the young players that stand out for me in Bermuda. There's this young man that played, I think he came from St. George's. His name is Mari. I think they call him Mari.
Left-footed.
Yeah. Oh my God. I just like, whoa, never put a foot wrong. Maybe playing for the wrong team. I'm going to say it, but quality. And what I also noticed, even North Village, I'm kind of not straying from what the question you asked me, but Bermuda has a promising group of young players. Even Keith Jennings' young son. Then there was another young man, Randy Richardson's great grandson. So I'm seeing quality. But again, getting back to the game, I thought North Village, again, playing 5-6 passes in front of Somerset Eagles. And then along Somerset Eagles, I have 4 passes and 6 passes from the goalkeeper to the halfway line. No way. So I do have a problem with that, but I'm not the coach of North Village. But I do have a problem with that. I think North Village, again, with Kenny, you look at what Kenny said in the papers on Saturday, we're going through a process. But remember, we're still an aging team. Think over our younger players coming back. I hope Sadeo will be back soon. And again, what Maceo said last week about our type of football. I think we're still organized, but there's still, we're still got some room to improve upon.
I believe after they scored that early goal, they really relaxed and thought it was going to be easy. They ran away from a lot of things that they were doing in the first 2 or 3 minutes that I saw them attempting to do, and then they just kind of dressed right off and allowed Somerset Eagles to play with the ball and come forward. Were you concerned when you started seeing that? Obviously, you are concerned about it because it looked as if they said, "Oh well, we'll get another one at any time." But when you start doing that, you kind of switch off.
The question is, listen, I still think that in the high pressing game, in the raw game, listen, it's a high pressing game. And the thing about once you win the ball back early, what decisions do you make? But if you don't even high press guys, that they can't even make they ain't gonna make a good 5-yard pass on the pressure. Why would you stand off them?
Exactly.
Why would you allow them to play? So my point is, I seen it in Robin Hood, as soon as Robin Hood played North Village, and they set the tone for how the game should be. Like with Jordan Barry, they send people hard, and they have a good physical game. But that's an intent. That means you're gonna every pass that you play out the back for 5 yards, we're gonna be on you. And so that's my dilemma with North Village. why are you allowing teams to play in front of you 65 and why allow it? So and the other thing I want to say about the Devonshire Cougars and Robin Hood game, I thought when I gave you my answer last week that Robin Hood would win this game. Now it takes champions to win a game like that because it's gonna be hard to beat Devonshire Cougars on the Devonshire Cougars, or the Lions fan they call it. Mm-hmm. But I do maturity. When you look at what Robin Hood have, the players there and the organization, I think these are the games that they will win to win the league. That's the kind of games you need to win. I'm not saying that Cougars is, it's a young team, they're growing, but look at the quality that Robin Hood have. So, again, my opinion is that Robin Hood, I think they're just, like Maceo said, they're gonna run away with this.
Yeah. Well, we'll get to the fact that Daniel Johnson was in goal for North Village today, and we'll get to that. We're going to be joined by Sergio Goda, the coach of Hamilton Parish, at the bottom of the hour. But let's take a quick look at those first division scores. I know all of us took St. David's, and Flanagan's Onions scored 2 early goals. They were up 2-0 after 11 minutes and won the game. I see you raising your eyebrows there, Maceo. What's your thoughts? Football, lovely football.
Man, let them go play cricket, man. Seriously. Let them go play cricket, man.
You said that about St. George's.
Yeah, man. Let St. David's go. They should just concentrate on cricket now, man. Yeah, they really should, because that's disappointing me, because I'm picked them and I'm starting to give them a bit of love, and we said let them go play cricket, man.
I'll tell you what the jinx was. That's the first time Keita took them.
That's what I'm saying. Let them just go play cricket, man.
That's it.
She wanted to say it on that.
Hey, and I like St. David's because they like North Village. I mean, every time North Village played down there over the years, I mean, they loved us and they treated us really well. So I have a soft spot for St. David's, right? But I think they should go play cricket now.
Get the pitch ready. Go get the pitch ready. I shut the field on.
I want to give it to North Village.
I want to, Earl. Listen, yes. let me add something to this. Let me add something to what Maceo said. I can't wait to talk to Sergio about this, about him from St. David's to Hamilton Parish.
Yes.
I had the same thing because when my coaching career, if I could even call it that, my coaching career, I left North and went to St. David's.
Yes.
And George O'Brien drew me down there. Anyway, but it's still the same philosophy, mentality there. And it's been interesting what I want to ask for Sergio Goda, because I found that out also. I'm not going to be as raw as Maceo, but sorry about that. But anyway, the point is that we have to be very honest about what is the definition of a good cricket club and a good football club. See, Norfolk and what that's it. I love football club like PHC. And so most of the time as coaches, I found that problem when I was coaching down there, because they didn't understand the change of what if you're going to be what is it that you want to achieve as a footballing club. And I think they're still struggling with that.
Yeah,
I think they're still struggling, like St. George's.
Right. Danica, you see the Parish winning 4-2 over Wolves. It's one of the first times they're giving up more than 1 goal a game for Parish, but again, Jordan Otterbridge getting a hat trick. His phone is scoring boots again. Last week he didn't score, but they still won big. But looking at Parish's performance, and we're gonna, like I said, we're gonna talk to the coach in a little while. But looking at their performance, what did you think of the team's play today?
Well, under the conditions, I thought they played really well. They pretty much, I wouldn't say directly ran at Wolves, but I mean, you saw that at times that they were tired, and we didn't have our regular goalkeeper. Nigel played in goal today. So, I don't know, but nevertheless, coach would have to answer that question. But yeah, overall, I think they played really well, considering, like I said, the conditions, the passing, everything, back to guys not having on boots,
right.
having the right studs on, that was for both teams. But they played well. I thought they played really good.
I don't know what you're saying.
Right. Let's talk a little bit about that Vasco, because Vasco now under Gary Adams has won 2 games. They set themselves up in the first half, but when they took that 2-0 lead, kind of got away, and Gary was screaming and just trying to get them to refocus. But they seem to be playing with a little different swag now after their hard start to the season. But when you start seeing Island Rangers, I have to say, every time I watch them play, they're a never give up, a never die team. They fight to the end. And today was one of those days where they created chances but just could not find it back of the net. When Vasco kind of relaxed, it allowed them to play some more. They just need a poacher of sorts, because that's what they're lacking. They're not lacking a goal scorer. They're lacking a poacher. When you see a team like that have struggled for years, I mean, they came up some years ago, but have spent most of their time in the first division, but you don't see them defaulting games. You don't see them. You always see them out playing, and they'll play to the end. What does that say about a team, Maceo?
Well, definitely the Dockyard Boys have a lot of heart. They do have a lot of heart, but historically, their struggle to establish themselves at this level, and then historically the good players end up going over to Somerset. So that's what's historically happened as a player that wants to go to the next level. So they do have heart. It should be a question of the Dockyard, the Somerset, and the Somerset Eagles. Do we create a relationship there? So we have proper quality. Proper quality in the game, because the Oilers struggle to sustain themselves even with that hard. And I know they work hard to establish their community out there, but they have to ask themselves the honest question. I mean, when I was coaching North Village and the quality that I had in players, and we went to Malabar, my mentality was I'm going to beat them 6-0, 7-0, and we did that. And that makes it hard for them to build a program. And to sustain themselves. Right. That relationship, that Dockyard and Somerset relationship should be an established, proper relationship. Whereas maybe Island Rangers become the feeding ground for Somerset, or I know they wouldn't like to hear that conversation, but this is the conversations that need to be here.
Yeah. Well, we're going to take another commercial break, and hopefully when we come back, Sergio Gota from the Hamilton Parish will join us. So let's take a commercial break. We'll be right back.
Coconut oil has been popular here in Bermuda as a skin moisturizer for generations, but is sometimes avoided in cookery because of its unhealthy reputation. We've witnessed a change in attitudes as recent findings indicate that coconut oil is actually heart healthy and can enhance our immune systems, increase metabolism, energy and endurance, and improve digestion. Nutiva coconut oil is a superfood in its own right, and this month we're featuring Nutiva organic shortening made with organic coconut and red palm oils, and also hemp seed oil. Lindo's, why go anyplace else?
And we are joined by Sergio Gota, the coach of Hamilton Parish. Well, first of all, Sergio, thank you very much for joining the Island Stats Football Show. You're coming off a 4-2 win over Wolves earlier today. Can you sum up your team's performance just today?
Well, I think we played pretty decent today. Conditions were a bit blustery, but we didn't catch too much of the rain, like maybe late in the match. But we got an early goal. She's probably after maybe not even a minute. So it kind of worked. I can't say it worked for us. It was almost like it worked against us, where I thought it might have settled it. But I think we got a bit complacent, and kind of allow Wolves to hang around in the match rather than keeping our foot on the pedal and punish them, But all together, I think we controlled the match.
We're experiencing a little bit of problems with the internet for you, but you guys have started off the season rather well. 5 games played, 5 wins. You've got this Jordan Utterbridge in your stable, who looks like he's going to run away with the golden boot in the first division. But outside of all the goals that you guys have scored, how would you evaluate the team's overall performances throughout your 5 matches?
Well, we've been playing in spurts. You know, it's kind of hard, especially with amateur players, you know, and these guys are learning like new ways of playing. You know, because they got the pass and the run, you know what I'm saying, through the darts. But I feel, you know, we just have to start to manage match.
I'm not sure if you guys can actually hear.
I can hear.
Okay.
I can hear.
I couldn't understand it.
Hey,
Macy, any questions for Sergio?
Oh, most definitely.
Go ahead.
Can I shoot? Ready?
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, understanding football like I do, and the culture change that you're bringing to Hamilton Parish as to the style of play. I think the confidence there. For me, the league is yours to win. Are your players guilty, and you may be guilty of starting to think about the next level, being prepared for the Premier League?
yeah, you can't help that. That's almost like human nature, you know. But I keep having to remind them because we still haven't won the league yet. If you look at the table, we're still behind Social Club. You know what I mean? So we have to get those points first. Game in hands doesn't mean points; they just mean games in hand. So we still have to win those games, you know. And even today, at one point, we was 3-1 up on Wolves, and then they got a goal. It was like 3-2. You know, so now I'm looking saying, hey, but what if they just sneak one more? Now it's a draw. But, you know, like you said, with a special player like Jordan, he just done his thing and settled the match, you know. But yeah, we just have to take one game at a time and just keep saying it. One game at a time, one game at a time.
Here's a difficult question, Sergio. You're a Gouda and a Romanian. North Village is struggling. If they come calling, are you coming home?
No, I'm not answering that phone call. I'm a papa.
That's right, sir.
Say that one more time.
I mean, for me, definitely with the culture, the North Village lack of identity at this time. I mean, I was always a fan of Sergio taking over at North Village prior to Kenny taking over, because for me, he would have brought that culture and way of football back, and I would also have Keith Dennis down there because we need a crazy person, you know, and that's what happened with me and Streaker. I mean, Streaker was the structure person. He brought the way of coaching. You know, he was a goalkeeper. Of course, he was responsible because the goalkeepers are responsible, and I was the crazy one. And you created the North Village culture. That was great. So that's why I asked that question. If North Village comes out calling, then do you come back down there?
Nah, I'm like I said, I'm a papa.
Okay, good. Hey, all. I'm gonna ask. How you doing, sir?
I'm good, Uncle.
Good. Question. The other thing I was to make a comment. First of all, I saw you training last Wednesday on the holiday. I watched the session for 10 to 15 minutes. I saw the intensity, and you were quite animated with players not like really doing. And I was really happy with it. And Larry was just watching for 10 to 15 minutes. And I said before last week that in the show that your accomplishment is not just by guessing. You're putting in the work effort. I want to ask you a question.
Yeah.
Leaving from St. David's, and now you've got a bit of quality at Hamilton Parish. I said a bit. I'm not trying to be facetious or stuff like that. Now that you're training with better players, what is it that you see now between coaching at St. David's, because I did my time at St. David's, and coaching at Hamilton Parish with the players that you have. What are you seeing now with actually the mentality of the players, or that when you came from St. David's to Hamilton Parish? What is the difference? Because I do see your structure.
Well, I try to do that at St. David's because that's just like my nature. But I don't know, like you said, it's cricket first. And I mean, there's some, decent little footballers that was there, but I don't know, they didn't really want to put in the work because, I mean, as we go to coaching courses, so most times you have to stop. Like, stop if you see something going wrong, you say, yeah, stop. And then you show them and then you run through it. You know what I mean? So when I was at St. David's, like, they used to complain so much, man, you stop this, you stop it too much, you stop it too much. But I'm saying it's two things. Well, I'll stop doing the wrong things, then I wouldn't have to stop it. And also you're learning. Where I guess they're just used to saying, look, show up on a Sunday and just go out and play, Whereas at Hamilton Parish now, you have so much more football-oriented guys, that was just looking for that structure. So now that they have it, they're really embracing it and they like it.
You're good?
Yeah, that's a good observation, Uncle. And Sergio, I'm sure that you are now enjoying the coaching again because you had to work. In St. David's, it was a lot of work. Now you're able to work, but I'm sure it's a lot more fun when you are able to actually run a training session where players have the ability to execute what it is that you're trying to get across to them. I think that's amazing. So, I'm happy for you. I don't really have any real questions besides with the way things are going with you guys. How are you keeping your players motivated? Because if we're honest, the first division isn't like the Premier Division where you have so many teams that on any given day can give you a hard time. It's usually one or two teams in the first division that are controlling the division. So how do you keep the players motivated? That's one. And then secondly, should you be, and this may be a premature question, should you be promoted, do you feel that you have the players in your team, the quality in your team, to be able to handle the Premier Division? As you see, the two newly promoted teams are having a tough time at the moment. Do you feel that the players in your team have quality to handle the Premier Division?
Well, keeping them motivated, I just always tell them that, it's like a stage show and they're the stars. So it's their duty to entertain. You know what I mean? So every time they cross that white line, they have to entertain the paying public. You know what I'm saying? So that's a good motivational factor for them. And as well, what I want to say is like, it can be difficult at times, because it's like, yeah, you're just winning, you're winning. But we still have to win a certain way. It's very, very important. And if we are to be promoted, yeah, we're gonna have to pick up some players in some key areas, I actually made a few deadline day signing that's really gonna help the team, you know what I mean? Some players that have played in the Premier Division. So that should be pretty good. But yeah, going up, we're definitely gonna have to. But I mean, I watched a few games, like I saw Robin Hood play against Dandytown, and a few of my players was there, and they could see the pace. Okay. The pace was a lot better. But hey, football is played on the day. It's a wrong ball, and it's a goal. So we should be all right.
And how do you with your players? Sorry.
No, when you asked me about when you're saying with coaching sessions, it was actually hard. So at St. David's, I kind of learned to coach, if this makes sense, offense, defense, or defense, offense, because whenever we had the ball, I had to gird my team with the thought of losing the ball. So that kind of helped me. You know what I mean?
I know that.
Okay,
that makes a lot of sense.
Yeah, you coached a lot in the second moment. Yeah, I understand.
Right. So I give a lot. You know what I mean? I learned a lot from like doing that. But now at Parish, it's so good to have training sessions because there's always, and as you ever be coaches, 16 players. You know what I mean? But still, it's tricky because they might not be the right 16 players.
Yes,
So
of
you gotta
course,
have
of course.
so many different things in mind, yeah. But it's cool, though.
Yeah, good job, man. Good job.
Thank you.
Nika?
Hi, Serge.
What's
Oh,
up,
look
Lee?
at that. Hi, sir.
Here's a pepper. Here's a pepper. She's a pepper.
Hey,
Yeah.
I just have one quick question. How was you able to change the attitudes of guys? Considering, I mean, me watching them over the years of playing and bickering and arguing amongst each other, unable to take constructive criticism, and since the season started and you've taken over, I've noticed a tremendous change in guys' attitudes and stuff, on the field.
It's funny you say that because probably the first thing that I said to him when I went to training, I told him that I'm none of the friends. Like I already have friends, Macy is my friend, my friends are my friends. So I'm here to do a job. So if I make a decision or something, I say something to him or whatever, don't take it personal. That's just, the passion, what I'm saying, in me. But so I tell him if you don't care to speak to me ever again on the streets, I'm perfectly fine with that because I already have my friends. You know what I mean? So it was just a matter of being strict. Had to be strict with them, but also because guys are not stupid. So if you're bringing some training sessions and they see, oh, you don't know what you're talking about, they can pick that up when that one, clearly, you know what I'm saying? So I always try to bring entertaining sessions to them and just, make them enjoy the game. But yeah, there's no arguing going on around here. No.
I noticed that.
Especially being around Andrew Bascom.
Yeah. Very good. Very good. I want to ask you a question. That's the next one. I'm sorry. I'm going to ask Sergio a question. Didn't even mention Andrew Bascom. I'm sure you and him speak. I know I can see your philosophy and the way your team trains and what you expect, your style. Of course, I do know that. I'm sorry that Andrew's still not coaching a senior team, but that's not a hero there. But I'm glad to see what I've noticed in what you're attempting to do at Hampton Parish. I always say a country should have a structure and a philosophy of football. I think what Maceo Dort say about our structure in Norfolk is always about the quality of our structure with players, quality of players. I think, let me ask you a question here, sir. When you receiving players at that age and the quality that you're looking for, that should probably raise a question to you, because I think your sessions are I thought I saw your session, but I still think it's still the quality that we lack in the country, what you are looking for. Because I still say that coaches are getting much more educated about the game, about philosophy of the game, quality. Do you think now that the younger players are coming up, and I'm going to bring this full circle, quick before I can answer it. That's why this young man I was watching at for Summers Eagles today, there was such quality, but I don't see that much in a team. I may see 4 good players, and then the rest of them carry on. I think, have you noticed that in Bermuda football lately?
Oh, yeah, big time. It's like these guys have so many bad habits. They was never broken out of the habits, from young. And that's one thing when I coach the youth at North Village, I always corrected their mistakes. Rather, if they should have received it with your left, or stop it. No, use your left, use your right, be well balanced. And I find a lot of players go through their careers and they still carry the same bad habits. So now when you're trying to coach them at 25, it's like what is this? So I don't know. It's just noticing it and trying to make sessions around it to help them. Because even if we do a session and I say, okay, we're just gonna receive with our left and play for our right, they might think that it's boring, but it's really concentration. You know what I mean? Because you learn repetitive, so keep doing the same thing over and over and over and over and over and over until they get it. And then when it happens in the game, they see that it's successful.
Well, Sergio, I want to thank you for joining us this evening, and we want to wish you all the best for the remainder of the season. And obviously, we'll have you on again the second half of the season to see how your season's been going. And you got a good headache where you got so many players, and you've actually said that you brought in some quality players to help strengthen your squad. But keeping in mind that you, like you said, games in hand don't mean points. Not until you got them.
Hey,
Not until you got them.
and y'all gooder.
It'll
Y'all gooder.
it'll really be interesting to see. It'll be really interesting to see how your team reacts if that third goal would have went in. How are they mentally? You know what I mean? Because until you're faced with it, you don't know how they're going to react. So you know, they have to be ready, and you have to be ready for anything such as that. You know, so especially late in the game where, you know, finding that it's not as easy as it was the game before. How do the players react, and how do they react to how you want to change things to make sure that they don't end up losing as opposed to winning? All right.
How much goals Jordan has now? 7, 8.
Jordan would have, because he got a hat trick today.
11.
Okay, last week, I'll share a story with you. Last week, he didn't score.
Right.
And I actually took him to the game. I picked him up, took him to the game. So we was having a conversation going on, and I said to him, I said, "Yay, when I was playing for St. David's, I had a 11-game streak, you know, scoring 11 straight games. So he didn't score. He was so mad at me. He said, "Coach, you jinxed me. You jinxed me." But it's back on the road today, though. He got 3 quality goals.
Yeah. All right. Thanks for joining, all right?
No worries, guys.
Okay. We'll be back after this message from our sponsor.
Every resident of Bermuda deserves to spend their final days with dignity. They also deserve access to privacy for themselves and their loved ones. Although Agape House has lovingly wrapped its arms around thousands of patients and their families, it can no longer meet the needs of our community. There is an urgent need for a new facility, and we need your help to make that happen. Donate today by going to agiftforagape.com or calling 232-0859. Help give Agape House a new home. Lindo's, why go anyplace else?
Well, we've come to the part where we look back at our picks, and of course, we have to keep in mind that those 2 matches that were abandoned, we won't know until they are either ruled a final or a replay by the Bermuda Football Association. So we'll start off with yesterday's match, Crossroads and Devonshire Colts. All of us took Devonshire Colts. Then we look at Somerset Trojans and PHC. Well, Danica took Somerset and everyone else took PHC. So Danica picked up a point. Then we moved to Devonshire Cougars and Robin Hood. 3 of us, myself, Punchy, and Danica and Nikita took Robin Hood, and Maceo and Danica took Devonshire Cougars. So in the Premier Division, I had 1, Punchy had 1, Maceo had none, Danica had 1, and Nikita had 1. We moved to the First Division. St. David's lost to Flanagan's. We all took St. David's. Wolves went down to Hamilton Parish. We all took Hamilton Parish. And Vasco defeated Ireland Rangers, and we all took Vasco. So in the end of the day, I had 3, Punchy had 3, Maceo, you had 2, Danica had 3, and Nikita had 3. So Maceo, your lead is 33. Danica and Nikita are 32. I'm 31, and Punchy is 30, with still yet those 2 matches to be decided. If that match with St. George's and Dandy Town ends as it is, none of us get a point because we all took Dandy Town, and North Village and Somerset Eagles. I took Village, Punchy took Village, and Kita took Village, and Maceo and Danica took a draw. So very interesting times there. Next weekend, we'll see the Shield and Friendships. Very interesting matchup on Saturday night at the BAA Field. It's Dandy Town taking on Devonshire Cougars. And then on Sunday in the Friendship, it's Robin Hood taking on Somerset Trojans, and Southampton Rangers taking on Somerset Eagles. That is the Friendship preliminary draw. So it's 3 matches next week. Although they're not part of the league schedule, just hearing those matches, which one are you most interested in, Punchy?
Saturday, BA, Dennytown, and Cougars. Oh my God. I think I'm gonna take Cougars on that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think Cougars
you
on
said
that.
you saw a bit of Dennytown. Are they still in that iffy stage with those injuries?
You know, for me, Dennytown, although they have the injuries, is their approach of it. For instance, Sequoia Robinson for me is a goal scorer. That's what he offers to the game, the ability to score goals. But they played him in a number 10 position. He's coming back and getting the ball, and he doesn't make the correct pass. He doesn't complete the pass. So again, it's approach, a tactical approach, and the puzzle, more so the injuries. The injuries are there. And I think we can look at Liverpool's injuries today, and they still made the correct approach and put the puzzle together correctly. So injuries are part of the game. So again, I'm not now when I'm looking at Dennytown is the approach and the puzzle pieces that they need to put together a little bit better to get the result. You know, rather than the injuries is the reason. So with Cougars now, no matter what the circumstances, he's putting the puzzle pieces together. You know, I saw in my coach and I saw one little piece today that I thought could have won the game for him. The substitute, he made a substitute today. He took off. He realized the athletic Darryl was not going to get any love or any success against the two center halves. So he went for a stand-up striker, and Wally Salam's younger son. Now the younger son is a new prodigy of a Mark Steve, holding the ball up, bringing people up. I actually think that Mark Steve was the better substitute today rather than Wally's son because he was more experienced. And the ball would have been coming into him and he would have started to play other people in. So while the coach made the right concept for us to substitute, I don't think it was the right person. But I still think he gets that right more times. He gets that right. And that's what would give him the edge when he plays Dennytown. He will get it right regardless of what the injury situation is. He'll manage that right.
Danica, Southampton Rangers were off this weekend, but they'll play a Somerset Eagles team at White Hill. What do you think the prospects of that match would be?
In the ball at the moment, I still think that they will get over Somerset Eagles, considering what they're going through also up there. You know, they're not winning, you know, so I think Rangers will probably get over them.
And obviously, make sure you look at that Robin Hood Somerset Trojans match. That's at BAA Field. But Somerset will be, again, they've beaten North Village. They drew with PHC with 10 men. They will come in and they're young, so they'll be feeling as if they have a shot. But right now, Robin Hood's on all cylinders. What do you think the prospects of that match will be?
It'll be interesting, Robin Hood's mentality towards that match, right? Because it's a cup match. You know they're going to be focused on the league, and it's all going to be about their mentality towards it. But I think they'll hand it to Somerset. I think they'll hand it to Somerset. Again, Antoine Rosswell had to start the match today, and they had the proper tactical plan to the match. And they adjusted their tactical plan as the match came on. So for instance, today, once it started raining and the rack was becoming unplayable, they started hitting long balls at the top. You know, so their gut. I mean, Ray Jones said last week that he has 5 ways of playing, but you see that coming out of Robin Hood. Robin Hood's now figured out, okay, when I can't physically outplay people, what do I do next? And they have something that they do next. And they lost the midfielder Corday, Justin Corday, that was sort of the midfielder schemer.
Yeah.
So the lost team, but they're still not Mr. Beat, and that's where I come back. You know, injuries are part of the game. You just have to adjust to how you approach it tactically to be able to still get the result. So Robin Hood for me is going to hand it to Somerset.
Yeah.
I think they'll handsomely win that match against Somerset.
Yeah. I did make mention about Daniel Johnson playing in goal for North Village. So Punchy, give me your thoughts. I mean, he hasn't played since he played for BA. What, 2.5 seasons ago?
I think he was okay. I think the goal that they scored, I think he should have won the ball. He didn't come out when the ball was crossed into the box. Somerset Eagles playing with total center forward. As soon as that ball, I judged as soon as that ball was put in, I figured he should have been coming for that ball and punched. But the center forward just came in, the total center forward came in and nudged the ball in. I thought that was definitely a goalkeeping error. But basically, it's calm. My brother said to me that he just signed him. He got him in as a replacement for Taj when Taj can't make it. So I'm pretty happy with him. He's pretty calm. You know, he keeps the back four solid. So I'm all right with that. But if I want to make a mention about the couple of games about Robin Hood and the game against Somerset. Again, Robin Hood, seniority. Look at the players that they have. Look at the sport. Look at the quality of the sport. And I think hands down, Robin Hood will be Somerset. Definitely. The question I don't have is Somerset Eagles and Rangers game. I talked to Jomar today. Jomar's having his problems up there, but I still think that Jomar has a lot of courage. It's going to make a great coach. He's just having some problems up there with Rangers, what he wants to achieve up there. But Somerset Eagles, again, are surprised. They do have something, you know. They do have some quality. So I think I'm going to go like maybe the Somerset Eagles on that game. Definitely. I'll take Robin Hood against Somerset, hands down. Dennytown and Cougars, I'm going to take Cougars. I'm going to take Cougars against Dennytown, definitely.
And these games, I believe, have to finish on the day. So if they're level, they will go to kicks from the penalty box. Yeah. All right. Well, folks, I want to thank you for your time. Another Island Stats football show done and dusted. Maceo, everybody's hot on your heels. And let's see when we come back next week. Obviously, we'll pick up the December 6th league matches, and I believe there's 3 matches left or 2 matches left for the first half of the season. So we'll see who's leading at the turn. Okay?
Okay.
All right.
Everybody enjoy your evening.
You too. Have a good one. Bye.